Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the
Mm.
final session, the final EcoAg Ricolto ILM training program workshop series. Thank you so much for coming. It's great to see somebody here. We have 20 people with us today, so we have a really good representation from the Ricolto team. Today's the last session. We're here with Benny. We have a really fun session planned. We're going to do just some reflection and evaluation. We're also going to end with a game where you'll be able to apply some of the things that we learned and discussed over this period. You can go into the next one, Benny, if you like.
You sure? Are you
Yeah,
sure? Okay. One housekeeping thing, Patricia,
yeah.
because we'll be co-facilitating today together, but there's some time sensitive stuff. So maybe we just both keep an eye on timing and let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow and vice
Perfect.
versa.
Okay, yeah, I will do.
So cool. Well, it's a pleasure. Good morning. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you all this morning. I've really enjoyed, um, seeing how this Ricolto training's evolved, and it seems like it's been really exciting, and I'm really excited about this very applied session today. So today, oh my goodness, it's the last training session where we're going to bring it all together, all the things that you've been learning, and really do a fun, applied, interactive exercise. You all probably know everything by now, but just to review briefly, it'd be great if you keep your video on. If you can, find a quiet space with good internet. Keep yourself on mute unless speaking. Um, we love interaction, so feel free to raise your hand, use the chat function liberally. This is very, very participatory. So we love your input and your thoughts. Um, Reminder to myself, I can speak fast, especially if I get excited. So please feel free to remind me and others, particularly me, to speak more slowly. And above all, enjoy this time. Is there anything else that I should mention? Is that good?
I think that's good, but if anybody has any suggestions,
Yeah.
into
Mhm. So you all probably, I know Max has facilitated a lot of these sessions. He may join us later today, I think. Um, Patricia's been the wonderful project manager facilitating all of this training session and programs. And then my name is Bamie, also a part of the team. I'm the Director of Innovations and Landscape Management at Eco Agriculture Partners. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, 5:30 in the morning. Um, and so I have a good cup of coffee. And anyway, so great to see you all again. Okay, so our time together today will be pretty dynamic. We'll do a fun participatory review of what we've learned during our time together. We're going to play an interactive game. So get your game hat on because we're gonna play a game. So just get in that mindset. um, and we'll engage in a reflective group conversation about how this has been for you. This is something I've done. So before I came to EcoAg, I don't know if you all know this, I was teaching at UCLA, before that UCI, for years. And it has always been fun. We always do evaluations at the end of courses or programs or trainings, but I've also found it valuable to have a conversation as a group, like what's worked for you all? What should I do better next time? And so we'll kind of try to invite that conversation at the end, and we'll see how it goes. And we'd love your input. So here's the agenda. So we'll do a check-in, that review I mentioned, a little bit of a coffee break, then you can get your game hat on, and then we'll have a game. I don't know if you've heard of it, Shark Tank, but if you haven't, we'll introduce it today, and then we'll have that reflective conversation. So just to warm things up, a quick group reflection. Can anyone share? So the last session you all had was focused on landscape action planning or landscape action plans, otherwise known as LAP. Can anyone share what was the muddiest point, the thing that was like least clear to you from the last session? Your muddiest point, the least clear thing to you. And you can also drop it in the chat. We can keep an eye on the chat too. Something least clear. Was it the time frame? What do you base it on? What was something that you felt like you would have liked to know more about or have more clarity on? None? But y'all did a really good job at the lab session. See if there's anything in the chat. I don't think so.
Baby, maybe we could turn the screen share
Raul
off.
said something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. And Raul's got his hand up. Let me do that so I can see people. I can remember what that just said. What's your muddiest point from the last session on landscape action planning?
I think
Yes, Raul?
it wasn't just yesterday, the last session, it was in general. The finance part still is a little foggy to me.
Ah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think um, I was there for one of the finance sessions, but not the second. I think the landscape finance topic in general. So first off, Raul, thank you for sharing that first and foremost. And I think that's something that we're experiencing, and it's really good feedback for us to hear because it's confirming that I think we sort of from a learning decide perspective are still figuring out the best way to facilitate learning around landscape finance because it's complicated for everyone. So
I
how
think
do we make that
just,
digestible?
just to add up, it's not something specific about, it's just in general. The topic is a little more hard to grasp. So in general, I think it might take a little more than one session or two, just
That's good to know.
to, to, to understand a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so thanks for opening it up, Raul. It could be muddiest point from the whole. You're a nice segue to the next part of this talk, which is kind of a review overall. And so to that's great that you opened up beyond the landscape action planning. Um, let's see, Mariella said, along with the necessary financial resources, also had a balance between short-term achievements without losing sight of the larger MSP goal. Yeah, thank you.
And
That's right.
Carolina has her hand up, baby.
Yes, Carolina.
Yes, I will also add to what Raul said on the finance session, since it could be hard for people.
Yeah.
Maybe like at the first session there's a lot of theory,
Mhm.
so maybe there should be a mix of like more dynamic or more interactive, since like doing
Yeah,
trainings online, there are some
so hard.
challenges, as like we know that, but maybe like setting something up for yeah, something more interactive could help.
Yeah, more active learning pedagogy, like design
Yes,
integrated. That's
or
cool, which
games
is
or
my favorite
something like
kind.
that.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I like it. Well, you'll have a game today. Watch what you ask for. Um, any others? This is great. Okay. Well, with that, I'll continue on, but I think this was perfect segue. Thank you, Raul, for kicking us off because I think it opens us up nicely to the next part. So let me go back to share screen if I may. Okay, huh. So we'll do a bit of review, but just to a heads up for this review is it's going to be interactive, more of a kind of a conversational review is the way I'm framing it. So it's not me um, sort of, theoretically, as Carolina was saying, giving back to you what you learned. This will be a conversation. Um, so if you all recall the famous ILM wheel, right, with landscape partnership in the center, and then you have the four elements that um, are around the landscape partnership. And so if you recall, you could see here a bit. So we're going to go through the ILM framework or the ILM, what we call affectionately the ILM wheel as a part of the review right now. And I would love, you could see what it is on the screen. You remember this is a coalition of stakeholders across sectors. And it's really to bring these stakeholders together to create a common strategy for resilient and sustainable landscapes. What I'd love to hear from you is what do you remember, what training session do you remember specifically, or something within a training session that relates to landscape partnerships that you're kind of taking away from our time together? Should I stop share, Patricia, for this? Or maybe they need to see it.
I think maybe we should keep it up.
Okay.
But should we start calling on people, Mariela? What do you suggest? Should we just pick some names from the crowd and ask them to share some thoughts?
I don't mind doing that. Is that okay in this space, or if I call people?
Yes, we can call. You can call. Yeah.
Can I?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, so what do you remember? So I see Raphael. I see you all. I see two, and a colleague. Is it Raphael who's smiling and then a colleague? I'd love to hear. Do you remember anything related to landscape partnerships that you learned during this time together?
Oh, okay. One thing I really remember about the landscape partnership aspects is specifically the training sessions. There was an aspect of identifying the actors along the chain, like those people who play major roles, the stakeholders. I realized that at each level of the partnership, there are there are some stakeholders that are being identified. Even came about a point where identifying the stakeholders within the landscape, within Ghana specifically, got to a point that you realize they are not exhaustive enough. Like as time goes on, there are some other stakeholders you come by that they also play major roles that you might not even think of in the initial stages. So I realize that there's more time that should be invested in the aspect of the partnership so that you'll be able to identify all those stakeholders that will play major roles within this landscape management thing. That's one thing I can talk about.
It's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Raphael. So that's great. So thinking about the stakeholder identification, the mapping, engagement of stakeholders. You all also had a session on diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, which is important when thinking about stakeholder identification, mapping, and engagement. So that's wonderful. Okay, so that's great. So I'm going to go on to the next. So we're going to go through just to show you where we're going. We're going to review all parts of the ILM wheel now, and then I'll invite you all to think about, okay, what do you remember, or what do you think applies, or what's the connection between what you learned and this element of the wheel. Okay. So next, the element shared understanding. So building a common understanding of the state of the landscape, trends, future scenarios, interests, etc. Any thoughts on a connection related to what you learned during this training and advancing a shared understanding? And you can recall what you did, a major hint at the bottom. Oh, Napoleon, go ahead. Hi, Napoleon.
Hola, thank you.
Hola.
What I remember is that, that partners or, actors, stakeholders involved need to have evidence, evidence base, and they have to agree on that evidence base in order to make decisions or to contribute. Also that they need to together generate, analyze information, collect from different perspectives so that they take right decisions, and they need help from a facilitator who has to be neutral for a long period of time, in order to be able to have a right process, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's great. And key having objective neutral facilitators as a key practice. That's also good that you mentioned that. Thank you, Napoleon. Also, one thing you all did in advance of the training that helped inform designing the training was, do you all recall that situation and exploration tools that in the very beginning, right after the kickoff meeting? So that's a tool that's a part of shared understanding. So in grappling with that, that you were contributing or advancing and thinking about shared understanding. If you were, particularly if you were doing it and talking with some of your partners that you work with in your landscape. So that's wonderful. Okay, well, we'll keep going unless there are any other thoughts or hands up. Okay. So vision and planning. You all did a lot of work in vision and planning. In fact, I would say the next, a big part of the latter half of your training was focused on this. And so it's really forging long-term and short-term vision, well, the long-term vision and strategy, and then having that as a foundation to develop the landscape action planning and landscape finance integration. So any thoughts on this in the sessions or reflections that you had, or key things that you recall learning that you'll take with you?
Raphael has his hand up.
Well, good. Go ahead, Raphael.
Yeah, during the vision and the planning stage, I just came across something interesting. Even though being short term or long term to a certain point is relative, but to make this landscape management more integrated and successful, I realize the long term will work better than the short term activities that comes into it. That's one thing I came across. So there were certain things we planned that I thought of. It would be better to put them as short term, but if there's a mid term, then they will fit better as a mid term instead of the short term, because it took quite a longer period than what we can describe as a short term. So that's one thing I realized. So the longer term planning was something that I saw to be more viable or more susceptible to success than the short term planning things. That's the little I realized about it.
It's great. Thank you, Raphael. Yeah, it's key. I mean, you need the vision that anchors a long-term plan. You need the landscape strategy. And without that, any of the short-term things can not be organized in a way that ultimately advances the sustainability and resilience of the landscape in the integrated way. So you all did a lot of this. Like if you think about how you learned how to facilitate developing a shared vision, that's a part of vision and planning. You had the 2 finance sessions, that's a part of the vision and planning. And you had the landscape action planning, which is also part of the vision and planning that hopefully would have been formed by a shared vision that you would develop in your landscape. So you didn't cover all of the outputs within the element of vision and planning, but you have a good taste of them, enough to know things like what Raphael just said, which is the longer term strategy is really critical for that shorter term landscape action planning. So that's really great. Any other thoughts on this? This is a really key part, I think, of what you all did. You had the core landscape partnership building. You learned the importance of identifying the stakeholders. Go ahead. Yes, Carolina?
Yeah, I think it's also very important in talking about visioning. I really like one of the questions that was suggested, that think about the landscape you dream of.
Oh,
And
beautiful. Yeah, that's right.
And what kind of and why are you proposing these or those changes, and for whom? So you think about inclusivity, you think about the new generations, you think about gender inclusion, and I think that was a really nice way of putting together also the previous steps, because you need to think about the stakeholders, you need to think about finance and what are you going to do, and particularly the purpose of why you're doing or proposing a change.
Thank you, Carolina. That's wonderful. And I love, it's inspiring to me and invigorating to think about like, what's your dream for a landscape? And then connecting it to the stakeholders and thinking about youth engagement. I think we mentioned we were recently, Mariala was there at a workshop in Pantanal in Brazil. And one of the things that was especially exciting, for many things were exciting about being at this particular ILM workshop, but one of them was that we purposely designed the workshop so that we were inviting cohorts of youth and senior leaders from various landscapes. And it was so neat to see that dynamic there and to see the energy and enthusiasm of the youth leaders. Like that just really made me feel energized and happy the whole time. And Mariela, I don't see her on my screen. Let me move this down so I see Mariela. But I don't know if you felt that too, that how neat it was to see at the Pantanal workshop, the youth presence and energy there. And it made me really happy that our team was very intentional about bringing the youth. That confirmed the importance of having that sort of DIJ practice of including the youth. Like it could have just, oh, we're just going to include the typical landscape leaders, which are very important for the wealth of knowledge, but going that additional step of thinking, let's bring in the youth as well together, but seeing that energy and interaction play out in the workshop was really inspiring. Did you feel that too, Mariella? Like, I don't want to impose that on you, but you were there too.
No, yeah, and for me was very also encouraged, no, encouraging to
Yeah.
to be not only in that session, you know, with people from different ages and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, women, men,
Yeah.
youth, people maybe with more expertise or with more years working on landscape, but also to hear, to understand that every model forest was working in order to in order to establish a partnership with universities or with education centers in those landscape. So yeah, for me it was very very nice and inspiring because it means or it talks about our need to include everyone and see that we are talking about youth and women, but there are other. Now I am using the priorities group instead of vulnerable groups, but I think it's really important to include everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you, Mariella. So thank you for these observations. So I think this particular part was where hopefully you all developed a bit more understanding and something that you can take with you to your landscapes during our training together. The next two elements we did a bit less of, and I think that what you grounded during our time spent in landscape partnership, shared understanding, and vision and planning have and inform this element about taking action. That hopefully now you'll go back to your landscapes and with partners in your landscapes begin to take coordinated action. And then as a part of this element, you think about finance, you think about tracking, you think about communication, right? So I'll pause for a second to see if you have any thoughts on this, but this is hopefully where after this training, and in this community that you've all created together, and of course you can always, please know that you can always come back to us and hopefully there are future opportunities for us to work together. And we'll talk about next steps at the end in terms of continued reflections and thinking about this. But, I think that's sort of to be continued for you all. Any thoughts on this one? Okay. The next one is learning and impact. So you'll take action and 100%, I always tell my students, 100% of what you may have planned in a proposal, let me just guarantee things will change. Things will change. That's the nature of doing this kind of dynamic, engaged, applied, action-oriented, you're aiming for positive changes work. 100% it will change. In fact, if you don't adapt your work because things change, then you're actually not implementing good best practice. So you take action and you think about and you monitor how you're doing. You measure how you're doing, you evaluate how you're doing, and then you adapt your plan and adjust the plan based on what you're learning and how to have, the kind of impact that you'd like to have. Going back to your vision and your strategy and your action plans. But learning and evaluation and making those changes based on what you've learned is really critical. Patricia, did you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that, and I think it was the first session, or maybe it was I think it was the first session that we talked a lot about at how integrated landscape management is very much about adaptive collaborative management. Yeah. It's about this that's why the ILM framework is a wheel.
The wheel.
Linear process where you start here and you went here. It's a continuous where you're learning and you're adapting and you're improving and you're changing all different elements now.
Yep.
And I think that
exactly
the learning and impact element, which is, okay, you haven't learned from what you've done in the past, you're learning for the future. Now you're going to start the cycle all over again. And you can create a new shared vision, and you can create a new action plan, and you can change your short-term goals and objectives and adapt the long-term goals. And yes, I just wanted to
Totally. That's perfect. Exactly. So that gets back to why we affectionately call this the wheel. This is not a linear process. This is iterative. This is adaptive. This is collaborative. So, and so that's great. That's a great way to segue to our next part. Trisha, thank you. Any final thoughts on this before we move on to the next part?
Okay. Yeah, Mariela just posted a comment in the chat.
Let me see.
And also with Norvin and with Charlotte, we were discussing about MEL, about monitoring and evaluation. And I remember that, well, we are trying to improve also our indicators with our male officers, no?
Yeah.
But I think there is a space to improve and to learn also. Now, if you have some tools, or if you have key indicators to start monitoring the MSP performance, for example. But what I see from in different territories now, and also in the Pantanal workshop, we were discussing about the need to reinforce our monitoring system, because people and stakeholders are doing beautiful, wonderful things, but most of the time we don't have enough resources to document and to capitalize those experience and to learn from those.
Yeah, I think that's really
and
important.
Also that could be a resource for or an input for raise more funds.
Yeah, you're right. Especially if you use indicators that are like, I think it's good to think of indicators as mixed methods, like quantitative, qualitative, stories, creative, not just numbers. Because if you do quantitative, qualitative, creative, mixed methods, then you can kind of triangulate. Because then you'll have some of the numbers, but then you have stories to couple with the numbers. And then also it allows you to validate in a very rich way that then you can use for fundraising, and then you can use to adapt the wheel, so to speak. I love the idea of diverse ways of thinking about indicators.
And with Terrazo, I had the chance to check what Terrazo is doing. I don't know if you can share more about that for the colleagues here in the session.
Steps. Yeah.
They are developing I think it's story mapping.
Story maps. Yeah.
Story maps. So wonderful, the platform that we saw. And if we had a chance to collect qualitative data, nice stories, learning, and to put in an interactive map, I think it's great.
Mariela, you're giving me like 2 different ideas for potential next steps we could talk about, but I think that would be awesome. I think Tarraso didn't come to we should have thought about Tarraso, Patricia. We didn't have a Tarraso session. Yeah, that would have been really neat.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Didn't have enough time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully this is the beginning of more partnership work together. And I think Tarraso would be really cool. And I think both Tarraso and because I think they're linked, like you just said, Mariella, Tarraso and thinking about sort of mixed approaches to learning and measuring impact. Yeah. Okay. Well, lots of ideas. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it does help with stakeholders. Okay. Oh, and let's see, Andrea said learning to impact allows you to keep the attention of stakeholders. You're right, because it can motivate them too. You connect it to communicating, you connect it to the stories. If Mel is often thought about, but I agree, Mariella, with your point here. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you. Okay, we have next a coffee break. I don't know how we're doing time-wise. Patricia, how are we doing?
So we're about 40 minutes into the session. So I feel like, I don't think we'll want to take a break after Shark Tank. So I feel like we could take a short break now just to stretch our legs, get some coffee, anybody who wants some tea or anything, and just get the blood.
Game hat on. You stretch.
You come back excited. And then so we could break for 5 minutes and then come back and start Shark Tank. What do you think?
That's perfect. Yeah, just get ready to be, yeah.
All right. So
competitive.
You guys go, I'm going to pause the recording, do some like jumping up and down and get excited. And then we'll come back in at 12 minutes past the hour. See you guys soon.
Okay. Perfect.
Right.
I will share the screen. Wait, hold on. There we go. Okay. Oh, hold on. Sorry. It's not going to the right thing. Let me just adjust it. Oh, no, it is at the right thing. Hold on. Ah.
Did everybody get some coffee? Are you all hyped up and excited and ready to go? Everyone's got their cameras off. So.
Oh, you can see this? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Let's proceed, everyone. So we're going to do something called Shark Tank. Does anyone know what Shark Tank is? You can feel free to chime up too. Let's see if there's any hands. Well, I'm going to tell you what Shark Tank is in a second. But it's a really fun interactive game. It's based on like a show. I know it's played in the US, but it's actually played all over. There's different Shark Tank versions in many countries. Hi, Raul.
Yes, I guess what you're saying is right. It's a game show in some way where people go and present their ideas about different projects, and you have people who are leaders in the industry, and they decided they want to invest in different proportions. And usually, if I go there and I present my project, I could say, well, I would like you to invest in my project, and I will give you 30 or 40% of the profits or the shares. So they start interacting and they start fighting each other for depending on how good or bad the project is. Something around those lines.
Something like that. Totally. I'll show you a quick clip exactly that shows that in a second. That's kind of fun. Here's the situation that's set up for us. We kind of simplified it because we wanted to make it just more simple for an online format. So Mariella saw us do this in the Pantanal, and it was a little more complicated. We made it a little more simple for the online. This is the online pilot that we're going to do with you all. And so basically, we prepared for you a landscape that we'll share in a second. So we're going to give everyone the same landscape. And we're going to break you into groups. I think random groups is what we decided. Okay. And each group is tasked with preparing a 3-minute, exciting, really compelling investment pitch for up to $200,000 for 3 years for this specific landscape, the Albela landscape in Spain. Okay. So everyone will have the same landscape. So you want to make it very exciting because the sharks, as you see in the photo, will be judging you and will decide ultimately, based on the pitches they hear, who gets that 200K. Okay. So you will have some time to develop your pitch in your groups. Again, you have 3 minutes. We're going to have to, I wish we had like a, we should have done that, Patricia. You have to embed it where the timer. Ooh, maybe we can see if we can find a timer on the screen that I can pivot to. So you will have that 3 minutes, like no negotiations, 3 minutes. There will be one question. So you'll have the sharks. The sharks, can I say who the sharks are? Is that okay? Permissible now? Or we don't say who the sharks are? Huh?
You can say who the sharks are.
Okay, the sharks are, in your case, Mariella, Norvin, and Patricia. They're your sharks. Okay? There'll be one round where they will ask each group one question. They have 1 minute to ask a question, a very long question. I doubt but they have up to 1 minute to ask a question. And then 1 minute for that group to respond to the shark's question. Okay? So you have one round of Q&A essentially. And then move here. The sharks will then deliberate by themselves in private for 3 minutes and choose a group winner for the funding. So this will be what we do. So you'll have time in breakout rooms to develop an amazing, exciting pitch just to get the sharks so excited. And then Q&A period. Again, we'll have a timer, 1 minute. And then they'll deliberate for 3 minutes, and then we'll have the winner. I'll show you this quick clip from the actual Shark Tank show. And you can just see, it's like 30 seconds, so it wouldn't take time. But let me just show it to you. Can you all see this on my screen? Can you see the Shark Tank thing? You see that or no? You do see it? Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see. Tell me if you can hear this. Can you hear it?
No.
Do you hear that, Patricia? No?
No. But
there's a way to do that.
Yet.
Huh?
Looks like it hasn't started yet. I think when you share screen, you need to include the audio option.
Yeah. Well, how do you do that? I forget how you do that. I used to know how to do that.
Close your screen again.
Okay. What do I do?
Stop sharing your screen.
Stop sharing.
And then click to start sharing. Before you click go, there's going to be some options. There's 5 options, and one of them is something about the audio.
No.
Did you find it?
I don't see not, but there is something about that. I know because I've done it before, and I'm just forgetting the second. You know how to do it if I give you the link?
It's not working for me because I'm not in the US.
Oh shoot.
You can share the link through the chat.
The problem is that you can only watch this video clip if you're in the US. I tried to watch it last night, Mariela, and since I'm not in the US, it doesn't work for me. But it could work.
Let me try one more thing. There is a way to do this. Then I'll be quiet. Hold on. Audio.
I feel excluded.
There's a way to do this because I know I've done this. Oh man, this is so exciting to see it. Okay, let me try one more time. Do you know how to? I think it's one of the things on the bottom under video, Patricia. I just don't know which to pick. Oh, share sound. Share sound.
Yeah,
there it is. Okay, tell me if you all can hear. Like, do a thing. Can you hear? Come on. Do you see that? Can you hear it? Okay. That's good. This is from 3 offers, but
I think it just hasn't started yet. Maybe we just wait.
No, I know which one I want. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. This is real stuff on the go. Where's the funky mellow one? Here it is. Okay. This is the one I picked. Okay, just do a thumbs up if you can hear me in a second. Thumbs up? No. You hear it?
It's okay, but I mean, I feel like we can just skip through the.
Okay, we'll get through it. I'll share it, but it's not being inclusive.
Yeah, let's share the link, and then maybe some people can watch it.
Okay. Sorry, because I'm sensitive to time. It's really fun. You can look up Shark Tank clips, and you should be able to see some. I can come back to it if you all want later. Okay, let me share screen again. Okay, so those are the general rules. This is the landscape that you all are going to generate your pitch for, okay? Let me pause and let you read it, and then we'll go back to it when you're doing the game, right? Because they'll be able to, maybe we keep this on our screen. We'll have to think about how to share this with them.
Oh, there's a link, Bemi. So we can, sorry, I was putting the timer in. So
here it is.
I can share the link to this in the chat box.
This is the link we're sharing of your landscape. So we're going to share it with you now so that you all can start to get a sense of the landscape that you're developing the pitch, an integrated landscape management based pitch for. Okay. So it should be shared in the chat. Okay, these are the investment pitch steps, and then I'll pause and ask for any questions, okay? Okay, this is this. So, oopsie, there we go. So like I said, each group's going to prepare. We're going to put you in breakout rooms, 3-minute investment pitch for up to 200,000 over a 3-year period. I think, did we say 20 minutes they get to make this pitch? Because then they'll need another 15, 20 minutes to have the presentation round.
We still have 1 hour. So I think we'd said 30 minutes, but we can do maybe 25.
Maybe we do, because we also need time for the Q&A or the conversation at the end.
Yeah, that's okay. We're at 9:20 now, so we still have 1 hour 10 left in the session.
Oh, good. Okay. So we'll give you time.
Let's do 25 minutes. Each group has 25 minutes to prepare a 3-minute pitch for the Alvala landscape.
Okay. So what you're going to do, what your pitch, sort of the prompts for the pitch, again, you want to make it really exciting, is you describe your 3-year plan. You want to connect that plan. What the sharks are going to be looking for too is that plan reflects integrated landscape management. And so really how does your plan reflect exciting ILM that's going to have a major positive impact on your landscape? And then who's going to lead? Who are the landscape partners? Who's going to really lead this plan's execution and implementation? So really also, bringing in concepts we've learned during our time together during your training session. Okay, I'm going to pause there before we do the next thing. Ooh, we're stopping. We're not doing that yet. For any Q&A, I'll stop share because I think we do breakout rooms. So any thoughts on those steps? And we'll share it in the chat too. Any thoughts on this game? Any questions? Burning questions? Yeah?
I was going to say maybe Mariela wants to, like in 2 minutes, talk about how we did this in Pantanal and her experience.
Sure. It was a different version. This, Mariela, you'll probably see this is more simple because they're not doing the actual work plan in between. We stripped it down to those 3 prompts just to keep it a little easier for our time frame.
Yeah, I remember that in Pantanal, I think there were like 6 or 7 groups. Yeah. There also it was a contest to get funds from Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, no? Yeah, so the idea is that you prepare a pitch, no, that and try to convince the judge committee. Yeah, I think you have what is the time for the pitch? Is 1 minute or 3 minutes? 3 minutes, yeah. And I think Patricia, Norvin, and I will listen, and we can ask some questions for clarification, and then we will decide who is the winner. No, what group is the winner? I think we are talking about $200,000. Yeah. So prepare yourself. Yeah. So yeah, the idea is to prepare your pitch, to be clear, concrete, and try to convince the judge group.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the essence of it. I think now, oops, I'll put this here.
Oh, and I just realized that Matthew has already played this game. She's at an unfair advantage. But that's okay. I'm gonna let it slide, Matthew.
Whoever gets Mafi is gonna have an unfair advantage. Unless should she be the 3rd judge? Well, do you think she should be a judge then?
Oh, I don't know. What do you think, Mariela?
Maybe Patricia, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear you.
Oh, I know I saw Rafael nodding, and maybe it makes sense for Mafi to be the judge, so or else it's going to be unfair.
It's not fair.
All
Yeah,
right.
okay. So Patricia, maybe you don't have to be the judge now. Mafi's the third judge.
Mafi,
That's
are you
okay.
okay? Are you okay being the third shark, Mafi?
Yes, of course. You can count on me.
All right, I'm gonna remove you from the breakout group then. Where are you?
Okay, so the three judges are Mariella, Mafi, and Norvin. Patricia's no longer a judge. She'll help co-facilitate, which that'll be good because I'm worried about tracking the timing too with the as we process this. So that I think works out better.
Okay. All right, so should we go ahead and open the breakout groups? Is everybody ready? Do you know what you're doing? Everybody ready? I don't see any nods.
Yes.
Been started already. Yeah.
All right. If you have any trouble, have any questions, you can leave the room, come back into the central room, and we'll put
We'll
you
be
back
here.
All right.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And maybe grab one thing, grab the questions in the chat, or will they be able to access these questions?
Yeah, you should copy and paste the questions from the chat.
I'll put them in the chat.
And bear in mind that you can use any apps or tools or resources you like for your 3-minute pitch. You can create a slide. You can just do an oral presentation. You can post a video, anything you like. So it's freestyle. All right. So 25 minutes starting now. Bye. Do that.
Okay. I think everyone's back, or here we go. I hope you all had a productive pitch development time. So here's where we are. So we've shared the three sharks that are selected, Mariella, Norvin, and Mafi. We're about to have it such that each group has 3 minutes to present, and then we'll have that Q&A session, and then the sharks will deliberate. So I'm going to unshare my screen, and we'll start the presentation time, I think, correct? Unless there's any questions. Okay. So then, Patricia, do you want to help, or what can we do to facilitate getting this first group? Which group would like to go first, or do you want to pick? Oh, you're muted.
Thanks, Betty. I think we should just start with the group order, which would be,
Okay.
so we'll start with Spanish 1, Francisco, Napoleon, Raul, and Percy. And I'll set the timer. So start. Should I do that, Bemi?
Al agua.
Yeah, are they ready? Are you all ready?
Guys ready? Who's gonna present for the group? Are you all gonna present? One person?
Raul
Okay,
is
you all
going to
decide.
present. He is the speaker of the group, the official
All
speaker.
right.
I don't even have the notes.
All right. I'm pressing start. Your 3 minutes start now. Go.
Sharks are ready. Go.
I'm not sure where to start because we didn't finish, but I guess one of the things that we want to present as a group is that we've been discovering that we're having some problems in the area, especially people migrating, and because of some of the ecological problems that we have in the area. So one of the things that we have found is that we have a lot of deforestation. We have problems with the soil, and we also have problems with employment, so people have to go away. Looking at this as a big problem, we have to become as a group and gather all the leaders in the different sectors in the region. And we have joined a Thousand Landscape program where we can in some way prioritize our progress, mapping the actors that we have in the community. And one of the key things is to establish a shared vision that we will share with the others stakeholders in the area and with other members of the community, so we can come together and we can bring all the dire needs that we have in the area, especially all the opportunities for people to stay and make the area a prosperous region again. We have different options, but one of the things that we need to work with is primarily with projects that let us retain water, let us make the soil and all the communities fertile again, and especially with have that will bring some areas of opportunity for production. But also we have to keep in mind that we have to diversify, not just agriculture, because we have other options like the marble and other natural resources in the area that will allow us to generate employment so people can stay here. But as a community, besides the retention of people and lower migration, it has to be also with the youth so we can retain all those younger generations and keep track of the farms that we already have in different areas. We are a big producers of different nuts and almonds and all kind of different trees. But for
Thank you,
that,
Raul. We're right at time. You got it. We have to
thank
stop you.
you.
All right,
Thank you so much.
I was
Apologies in advance. Well, we're going to be strict with time. Yeah.
Amy, are we going to do the 3 presentations in one go, or should we do the questions now from the sharks?
I'm trying to remember what we did in the Pontonal. I thought we did all sessions and then the Q&A.
All the
Right.
sessions?
Okay, Marielle. Yeah.
So now we'd like to hear from Spanish group 2. That's Andres, Carolina, Ricardo, and Vanessa. And your 3 minutes starts. Are you ready?
Ready?
We're ready. So we're gonna present. We're gonna do a duo. Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Time starts now. Go.
Oh.
Okay. So alveoli is productive. Alveoli is regenerative, and it's for people to stay and invest. Go, Ricky.
Okay. In the community where we want to promote a pilot project to improve the living conditions of the population, there are problems of all people, degenerated soils, growth of and lack of adequate production, so that there is an adequate income to motivate young people to stay in the countryside and not migrate to the cities. That's why what our strategy goal is improve the livelihood of people in Albelal through strengthening capacities and sustainable use of natural resources. We plan a 3-year action plan. And for the first year, we are going to strengthen capacities in soft, financial, and technical skills in production, regenerative agriculture and services. And we need to make a business plan for supply and demand productivity. For the year 2, we need to develop a business entrepreneurships led by producers and communities. We are going to do some interventions in equipment and supplies for our pilot. And in year 3, we need to create a connection between markets and clients and producers, and strengthening a platform of stakeholders to support this initiative. This initiative will be led by the communities who will take ownership of the process to ensure sustainability in the future. I don't know, Carol.
Yeah, I can go. So we want people to stay in Alvelal. We want Alvelal to be productive, to be regenerative, and we want you to invest in our initiative. Your investment will be used for people to stay and to produce almonds, to produce other produce, lambs, and you can come and visit Alvelal and stay to fun things and bring more people, because we want people to come, stay, visit, and enjoy out loud. So thank you and invest in us.
Right on time. Good timekeeping, group. All right, let's go on to the final group, the third and final group. It's the French group 1. Anne, Bernadette, Haruna, and Rafael. You guys ready? Yeah? All right.
Yes,
So
Yes, Rafael will be presenting for us.
perfect. Your 3 minutes.
I'm ready.
Your 3 minutes start now. Go.
Okay, I was trying to share, but I think I'll rather read from it if I'm trying to not get off. Okay, so from my group, as was in the background of the case, and realized that there were three main challenges, which is the depopulation aspect of it. The depopulation aspect talks about the fact that the people are leaving for better opportunities, which means the youth who can also have more energy or sustain the generation are also leaving. Those should be something to restore them, like make them interested in the communities within the landscape. And then realize that this challenge of the water, which is also affecting the agricultural productions within the area, it was also affecting them, and it was affecting the economic aspect of it. But you also realize that there are some activities going on already, which includes this. There were production of almond, olive oil, the nuts, and some cereals are being produced. Just that they are not being commercialized, or to the extent that they can develop the economy. So to be better to develop some activities, which includes a way of enriching the soil for a better production. We can talk about getting a source of water, because it was stated that their source of water was not that better. So if there'll be a dug out water, artificially source of water can be created for them. Then it can also help them enrich the soil. That will also improve their production, especially those into the cereals and then the vegetable aspect of production. And then if this goes on, then it can create some opportunities for the people living away to also stay or to find reasons to stay. And then that will improve production in those areas. Then by doing so, then you can have manpower, let me say, to also focus on activities that can cause a restoration or can use to regenerate the landscape, which should be through some sustainable practices. We can talk about those stakeholders, talk about a meeting, training programs that can bring about developing regenerative processes for them. Then those are the strategies. And then some key activities also will include the participatory mapping and assessment among these community members there, and then those stakeholders that can be identified. And then projects that will ensure the ecosystem restoration can also be done to develop this, those landscapes. And then those are already into production can also be linked to markets. And then if they are linked to markets, then they are sure of their production. And I'm sure that those people living for better opportunity will rush there to also work on it. I think that is what
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you so much. Thank you all. So now we're in the part of the Shark Tank game where we hand it over to the sharks. They each have no more than a minute to ask. So I guess we'll go group by group. So they'll ask each group a question, and then the group has 1 minute to respond to the question. So we'll go, so I think we'd go first with Raul's group. Do you all need time to generate your question, like to think about your question? Okay, so how do we want to do that?
I think we should just, Mariela asks one group, Norvin asks another group, and Mafia asks another group.
Yeah, so from a time perspective. Okay. So we're learning how to adapt this to online. So Mariela, are you okay to ask Raul or the first question, and then we'll rotate from there? Is that cool?
Mafi is the responsible for the first group. So
perfect.
yeah,
well, look at this.
Go ahead, Mafi.
Mafi. Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll time 1 minute. Go ahead. You got it, Patricia?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Raul, for your speech. I think you mentioned about the mapping of actors, and that you want to to people to stay in the territory, and so you need to have more projects to retain water also and the soil, and also investing in youth. So maybe it was very interesting to hear about all this that you want to achieve, and maybe you could tell us more about how are you going to address these problems and the activities you are planning to do so the people can stay and have all the actors in your platform.
Thank you, Mafi. Raul, you have 1 minute to respond, starting now.
One of the things that we have discussed as a community is that we're gonna, besides mapping all the actors, we're gonna integrate different groups and forums, and we're gonna focus on different actions. For example, one of the groups is gonna emphasize their work in activities related with water rotation, and for that we have to work with not just the members of the community, but we have to work as well with the state, local, and state governments. So we have to have a plan, a long-term plan where we will invest in water projects where we can have not just water rotation, but water irrigation for crops. So we will have to add as well programs where we're gonna involve youth, and this youth is gonna lead different projects, transforming the basic products that we have from the land.
Time's up, Raul. Sorry. Thank you so much for your answer. Moving on to the second team. Well done, that was very good. Second team, Spanish 2. Who's asking the question for the second team? Mariela, Norvin? Norvin? All right, go ahead, Norvin. If you could turn your camera on for the question, that would be great. You have 1 minute.
Okay. Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks, group. Thanks, Carolina and Ricardo. How you reviewed the resource you need for the work of the following years, and how the multi-stakeholder partnership will be organized to do it for the beginning of the project?
Group 2, you have 1 minute to answer. Starting now.
So we have a platform. We have a platform that is already formed. So they're already working, and the idea is just to bring them since the very beginning, not only the people from the Alvelal, but also the other multi-stakeholder, all the other stakeholders like the local government and companies, business. So this has a shared vision for the future. So we're thinking about that at the very beginning, and also the year 3, we're strengthening that idea, because we want to have a sustainable initiative and process implemented. Regarding the resources, we know that there's a lack of water, so we need to plan ahead. We need to have a plan to manage resources since the very beginning, and that is put into consideration because we want the community to take care of the resources and to plan ahead so we have more resources for the future and to keep producing our almonds and lambs and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolina.
Is so good at keeping time. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. The third group. Who's asking the question for the third group? Is that Mariela?
Yeah.
All right, Mariela, you have 1 minute, starting now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rafael, and the group for your presentation. Very interesting, and also the time you dedicated to explain about potentialities of the landscape. So we see an interesting connection with the market. So who will be the responsible for this? And how do you take care of the trade-off, taking into account that this landscape can be a management model for other landscape in Spain or in the world?
Thank you so much, Mariela. Group, you have 1 minute to answer, starting now.
Okay, sorry, I was speaking and I was on mute. So if I had a question right, you're talking about how who's going to take charge of the markets, and then how you're going to implement that and the collaborations. Yeah, fine. Yeah, since the youths are mentioned who are now moving out to find greener pastures or better opportunities, who will be interested in the things that you're doing. Market also forms part of the value chain of the productions that is going on already. So those who are interested can have access to it, and other organizations who will be part of the partnerships within the landscape can also be held responsible for this market access or collaborations. So that's basically for the market side. I don't know if I've answered this right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Baby, what's the next step? Should we put the groups back into their groups and the sharks in their group for them to deliberate?
I think we just need one breakout group, really. Can we just have the sharks be one breakout group? We stay here, everyone take it to, we just sit still for 2 minutes or 3 minutes while they deliberate.
All right. The way that the breakout groups are set out is I need to, oh, actually, hang on, I can delete this group. Hang on. Yes, I can do that. All right, sharks.
We'll give them 3 minutes to deliberate and we'll bring you back.
Mariela, did you get the notification? And Norvin? I don't see them. Norvin, Mariela, and Mafi, did you get the notification?
Oh, they're gone. They're gone.
All right. Okay. So how did that go for everybody? What do you guys think? Was it enough time to come up with a plan for $200,000?
We need a little bit
It's
more.
A game. Huh?
We need a little bit more time for group.
Good lesson learned.
Just a little bit.
I guess what at least I feel like in our group we were trying to come up with things, and at first I didn't realize that everything was just there. We didn't have to come up with any more additional information that everybody has. It's there. It just, I think we were breaking our heads a little more than we needed to at the beginning. And when we realized it, that all the information was there, it just time, we didn't have enough time to put everything together, but it wasn't our fault in some way.
Yeah. Okay, so more time. That's good lesson learned. This is an online pilot of this. This is something we've done in person, but we wanted to try online. We think it'd be fun, but it's good to know you need more time.
Can you correct me if I'm wrong? Didn't we see this a presentation from the lady in Spain, right?
Exactly. That's why we thought it'd be cool to see this one.
I was thinking in my head, I have seen this before. I couldn't
yeah. No, exactly. That's why we picked it, because we thought it'd be cool because you had a guest presenter on that landscape.
And the other thing is, usually I try to remember, for example, when you go to these English courses as a second language, you usually have like a movie at the beginning of the course and the same movie at the end of the course, and you can see how different you can assess and understand things. So that would be probably a good exercise to do it.
Yeah, I like that, Raul. Thank you.
I'm not sure to explain myself, but it's like when you go to English school, you can see that you don't understand a word.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months or whatever your training is, you see the difference. So the same with how you view a landscape and all these different steps that you have to do. Probably at the beginning you don't see it, and at the end you see a more clearly picture of what's going on.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Are they?
All right.
Oh, looks like the team is back. Thank you, Raul. I like that. I wrote it down.
$100.
So, are you ready?
Okay, let's let the sharks announce the winner.
So after we deliberate, the group that is the winner is group Ricardo and Caro. Oh. Yes, you were great. We think that you were really concrete about what were you doing and all the activities, the main activities you are going to do. And also, what we love about your speech is that you feel as part of your project, like you were integrate all of in the room. So it was good for that. So congratulations, you won 200K.
Yeah. You're not gonna regret your investment. You can come back to Albalal and see in the next 3 years. You can take your almonds and lambs and pistachios and everything.
Yes, pistachios.
Okay, thank you very much. When we will receive the transfer?
Tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
9 a.m.
Talk business. That's great. Thank you. Oh, Mariela, were you going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah. If I can add something is, well, it's about the pitch, no? Because yeah, you need to prioritize what kind of information you can share in 3 minutes. We also talk about the first group. They did it well. They prioritize problems. They talk about how to plan the activities, how to develop a joint plan with different stakeholders. That was nice, but something else was needed. And in the case of Rafael in his group, they describe the opportunities in the landscape, and he knew that we have the business mindset, and he talks about the link with the market. So that is interesting because they connect with what we are looking for also, no? Business. Ricardo is always thinking in business. So I think it's a good exercise, was a good exercise. So congratulations, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for playing this game with us. And thank you so much for the Sharks for judging. So much appreciation. And yeah, this was fun. And it allows you to bring all the concepts together and pull different things that you've learned from in a really integrated, applied, and hopefully fun way. So thank you. So we have 10 minutes left. So why don't we, Patricia, proceed to the last part? Is that good? And just let's keep track of time.
Yeah,
For
let's
this
do it.
last part. Let's see, share screen. So we'd like to spend the last few minutes having a reflective conversation. And really it's very simple. There's two questions we'd love to have a conversation about, and we can put this in the chat. What did you enjoy about the training program? Like what worked well for you, and what could be improved in the training program? We want to practice constantly learning and improving the trainings that we're doing. So we'd love to learn what worked for you, what did you enjoy, and what could be improved. And I'll put the, or if not already, maybe the questions are in the chat. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Patricia. I'll stop share now. Any thoughts on that? Oh, Carolina.
I enjoyed the energy you guys brought to all the sessions. It's really inspiring to have like people like you like be ready to share and to sparkle us with inspiration. So it really seems that you like what you do. So that was really nice. and and of course there are some constraints and issues about with the online sessions, and we all know it is so different with in-person trainings. But I think overall the last sessions in this year and also the previous in 2023, they were also good, and particularly because of your energy, guys. So congratulations to you, and thank you so much for sharing everything.
Thank you very much. Rafi, your hand is up.
I can barely hear you. I don't know if it's my computer or everybody is having the same problem.
Baby, maybe if you lift your microphone like this a bit.
Oh, here we go. Is this better?
Yes,
Yeah.
much better. Thank you.
Sorry, it lingered down. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, Mafi, I think you're muted, but your hand's up.
Okay, yes, thank you. I think as Caro says, your energy was really great. And what I really love about EcoAg in general is your graphic designer. It's really beautiful, all your presentations, and they're really simple to understand when you see the pictures, and the schedules are really beautiful. And also that you mixed all this theory and practice also to discuss and to promote all the dialogue. And for me it was very difficult, the schedule, the hours, because it's really early here. So I think it's the only thing I should say about the hours. But the content and the presentations were really great and interesting. I learned a lot from you, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mafi. So much appreciated. Thank you, Carolina, as well. Much appreciated. Much gratitude. And we will definitely tell Lola, our artist and graphic designer. She's a wonderful colleague to work with us and has been helping us this whole time in the art that you see in our presentations and sessions. Raul.
Yes, I would like to add what Carolina and Mafi said. I think it's been a really organized, on point course. What I would like to see more, probably because I still always debating in these kind of things, is how we go from theory to practice. And I think when you guys invited sorry, I forgot her name, the lady from Spain, it was really interesting to see how things work in reality. So maybe that could be included in one of the sessions, and I go back to the same, one of the most hardest issues that I believe, strategic finance thing. So probably it would need a little more time, but if you invite someone who has done this and has gone through that process and what they have done to achieve the unsecured different funds, projects, and how they have created alliances, and how they have applied to different grants, or how they have managed in real life all that stuff, probably will be a little more easy to understand, especially that topic. The other topics, I think they are really easy to understand, and as Mafi said, you have a great way to present, and all the presentations have this graphic design and are really really good. So for me, that would be the most important thing, to bring other people, even for a shorter period of time, maybe 20 minutes, but give them the opportunity to address specific points.
That's great. I think that's great to hear, Raul, and I think that's something I'm taking notes from the feedback of you all, and that's really important for our learning in future sessions. In general, I think that's great. I think it's great to bring in real life examples and practitioners and leaders and landscapes, and then breaking down and incorporating more active learning in the landscape finance.
And we need to have a field trip.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. I echo that. Okay. So let me, in the interest of time, we have 3 minutes. Let me thank you all for your feedback, and we're going to keep proceeding. Oh, thank you. I see some other things in the chat. That's wonderful to hear about the modules and things like that, and how they were clear. So that's great to hear. Okay, let me go here. Hopefully you all can see. So next, so thank you. Oh, okay, this is a group reflection. Okay, so we have an evaluation form that would be really wonderful and meaningful and important for us to hear individually your thoughts about how this went from a perspective of the facilitation, the learning, you know, how this worked from an online perspective. All of these things are really important. So perhaps Mariela, we can work with you to make sure and to facilitate that folks that we'd love to get, you know, hear from everyone if possible. So we can maybe we can share the link to the evaluation form now, and then maybe we can, Mariela, follow up with you and Norvin and to just make sure we hear back from folks if possible.
Of course.
And so there's that. I think, was that shared in the chat? Or we can share it. Patricia, do you mind sharing that evaluation form in the chat and people can grab it?
Yes, I just shared it in the chat, and I was also going to mention that in the beginning, you can add your name and your country if you like. If you want to do the form anonymously, just skip that question and go straight into the feedback. So
perfect. Thank you. Good point, Patricia. Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to keep anonymous if you're more comfortable. Whichever way you feel more comfortable is most important. And then lastly, we wanted to share and congratulate all of you for completing this training session. So we share with you our certificate of completion by Eco Agriculture Partners to all of you for successfully completing this online training on integrated landscape management. Thank you so much for your active participation and contributions. And so on behalf of my colleagues here, Patricia, who's done an amazing job of managing this entire training program, and Max and myself, we want to extend our heartfelt congratulations to all of you. My understanding, so you can see the overall certificate here, but then Mariela and Norvin will work with all of you to distribute these individually, is my understanding. Is that correct, Patricia?
Maria, do you want to explain what that process is going to look like? And I also take the opportunity to say that Carolina just mentioned I shared the wrong version of the survey. I'm sending the correct version now. But Mariela, would you like to tell the Ricolto team how the certificate situation? I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
I also wanted to say thank you. Thank you very much to you, Patricia, Max, and Bemi, and all the colleagues who were involved in this training program. It has been really nice to develop this program together, and I have learned a lot and enjoy this training. So also thanks to our colleagues who actively participated, shared in the sessions, got up very early, or spent time at the end of the day for this session. So with Charlotte and Norvin, we will review the participation, and we will share or send the certificate for those who completed the sessions. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks to Lola for designing this amazing certificate. So next, in terms of next steps, already in our time together today, I have some exciting ideas I think that we can reflect on. There will be a debrief session for us to come together in July or August. I think we'll work with Mariela to determine the exact timing of that, but it'll give you an opportunity to hopefully, you know, share how this experience was and how since during that time you've thought about applying these learnings in your own work and in the field. So that's a next step. And then in general, sort of next opportunities to collaborate would be wonderful as well. And I think that is all. So with that, thank you so much. Thank you for being a community with us every month. And we really appreciated spending time with you all. And thanks for the collaboration. Thank you, Patricia. And thank you to Patricia for doing an amazing job of this.